Good afternoon and welcome to the media news. I am Olubumi Ajiboye Agbuola. Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edo, has called for collaboration between the public and private sectors to boost the country's revenue generation. This comes as the government said it is now focusing on the non-oil sector as a way of diversifying the revenue base. The minister said this at the opening of the 5th edition of the National Treasury Workshop themed Nigeria's Revenue Challenges and the Way Forward, exploring non-oil alternatives, held in Abuja. Mr. Edon said the workshop was not just an annual event, but also a strategic platform for fostering collaborations, exchange of ideas, and expanding knowledge on growth and economic stability. He said the recent global shift in energy policies, declining oil demand, and fluctuating crude prices have moved it abundantly clear that Nigeria cannot afford to be overly dependent on oil revenues. The minister added that Nigeria is blessed with abundant natural and human resources that remain largely untapped, noting that several non-oil sectors have demonstrated strong potential for revenue generation, job creation, and economic transformation. He noted that the government is already taking bold steps to tackle these issues through reforms in public financial management, digitalization of revenue collection, and strengthening of tax administration. Meanwhile, the federal government has urged retailers to reflect the reduction in food prices and shun exploiting consumers. The Minister of Agriculture and Natural Resources, Abubakar Kyari, said this at the 2025 Wheat Farmers Greenfield Day at Dabi Village in Ringim local government area of Jigawa State. The minister decried the nonchalant attitude of retailers to reflect the reduction in their sales despite a drop in prices, describing it as an unpatriotic and unacceptable. He added that the federal government is aware of the significant drop in prices of food items across major markets, particularly for essential commodities such as flour, sugar, rice, and pasta. Kyari reiterated the government's commitment to ensure food availability and engage with relevant stakeholders to reflect the current market realities. In the meantime, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has called for greater involvement of subnational governments in Africa's trade and investment landscape, emphasizing that real economic integration must begin at the state and regional levels. Speaking at the Africa Business Forum in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Makinde urged the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa to actively engage subnational entities to drive economic growth. Makinde noted that while discussions on trade, investment, and economic integration often take place at the national level, implementation largely rests with subnational. According to him, Oyo State has leveraged agribusiness to drive economic expansion, import substitution, and foreign exchange generation. The governor highlighted the Fashola Agribusiness Industrial Hub as a major success, attracting interest from within and outside Nigeria. He stressed that Africa's future lies in cross-border economic partnerships and an enabling environment for trade and investment. At least 450 foreign service officers in 109 Nigerian missions abroad have yet to receive their salaries for the past 5 to 6 months. The acting spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimebi Ebienfa, acknowledged the financial challenges facing the Nigerian missions and assured that the leadership is working to resolve the issue. The officials serving under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs are in financial distress and cannot meet their financial obligations. However, the federal government proposed 53 billion naira to renovate 103 foreign missions this year, as the funds will cover various needs, including renovations of chancelleries, staff quarters, ambassadors' residences, purchase of office furniture, and official vehicles, among others. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugaro, admitted insufficient funding for essential embassy operations and ambassadorial support. He said the president is working on the situation and it will be done in due course, attributing the financial situation to poor funding and delays in the 2025 budget passage. Moving on to the sports arena. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has called for the creation of a pension fund for retired athletes who have brought honor to Nigeria during the groundbreaking ceremony of the 25,000 capacity Olympic Stadium in Igbogene, Yenogwa, capital of Bayelsa State. Speaking at the event, which was part of activities marking Governor Duye Diri's 5 years in office, Dr. Jonathan lamented that many Nigerian athletes who won international medals often end up destitute after retirement. The former president urged the National Sports Commission to consider establishing such a fund at both national and state levels, emphasizing that it should be managed by reputable individuals to support athletes throughout their lives. He also expressed hope that he would accompany President Bola Tinubu to commission the stadium upon its completion in 24 months, recalling that in the past it was difficult to find stadia that met FIFA standards for international matches. Also speaking, Governor Duye Diri described the project as a transformative advancement that will reshape the state's identity beyond sports, generating economic opportunities and providing jobs. While on the foreign scene, Zambia and 5 other low and middle-income countries will receive free cancer medicines for children through a World Health Organization initiative that promises to close the gap in cancer care access. WHO said in collaboration with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in the United States will provide ongoing supplies of medicines to at least 5,000 young cancer patients under the global platform for access to childhood cancer medicines. According to the World Health Agency, around 400,000 children worldwide develop cancer such as leukemia, brain tumor, and lymphomas each year. Most of the diseases are in low and middle income countries, where less than 30% survive compared to 80% in high income countries. Co-founder, the director of the Texas Cancer Center in Nairobi, Kenya, Catherine Nyongeza, said the initiative could go a long way to addressing cancer treatment gaps in developing countries, especially in Africa. It was learned that Mongolia and Uzbekistan are already receiving medicines through the program, which with shipments to Zambia, Ecuador, Jordan, and Nepal expected this year. Still on the foreign scene, U.S. President Donald Trump has blamed Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky for Russia's invasion as French President Emmanuel Macron prepares for another round of talks with EU and non-European partners. Trump told reporters that he was disappointed to hear that they were upset about not having a seat at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida after Russia and the United States had agreed to establish teams to negotiate a path to ending the war in Ukraine. Trump also suggested he could meet Russian President Vladimir Putin before the end of the month in Saudi Arabia as he overhauls Washington's stance towards Moscow, a shift that has alarmed European leaders. Earlier, Francis Macron announced another meeting in Paris on Ukraine after the U.S.-Russia talks, adding that Trump can restart a useful dialogue with Putin. Meanwhile, Zelensky previously criticized the U.S.-Russia talks for excluding Kyiv, saying efforts to end the war must be fair and involve European countries. And that ends the media news on OSBC TV. Do join us at 3 for the state news. Good afternoon.